I ain't never seen Vegas look like this on a Saturday at 1 in the morning. Where's the people?
Literally the emptiest it's been in a long, long time. And today is July. It's been like this throughout the whole park.
Las Vegas, Orlando, New Orleans, names that once represented the vibrancy of America. Today they're deserted, not lively, no laughter. There was only an odd silence left, a rare and unusual thing in the history of the American tourism industry. We have built dreams in Las Vegas, in Disneyland, in Florida and so on. Holidays, reunions, glorious years. And now we are silently watching them disappear. Why are Americans no longer interested in traveling? Or is America no longer welcoming its own citizens? In this video, I'll take you to 5 states, once symbols of American tourism, now gasping for breath in silence. And the real reason Americans are angry isn't because of a lack of money, but it's because of the feeling of being betrayed. A small note that the content in the video is compiled by us from reputable sources and does not attack any individuals or organizations. With the desire to create a space for sharing and discussion, I think which states will appear on this list. Don't take your eyes off it. Bang will eventually amaze you because it used to be paradise for millions of people. Please stay until the end of the video because you need to see this. Can you believe it? This is the last Saturday night of the weekend in Las Vegas. It should be the busiest and most crowded day of the week, but now it's completely deserted. A simple question is probably on the minds of many. Is this the city that never sleeps, or has the dream stopped dreaming? According to official figures, the number of visitors to Las Vegas in 2025 decreased by 6.5% compared to the previous year. But don't let the small numbers fool you. In the tourism industry, a decrease of just 10% is enough for a multitude of hotels, casinos and restaurants to begin to feel the change significantly. Let's remember 2008. Just 15% of tourists disappearing, and this smokeless industry collapsed like a house of cards. Could this decline be due to Americans no longer liking Las Vegas? No. Or maybe they don't have any money? Not exactly. There's a bigger, more simmering problem that few people talk about. People don't want to feel cheated. Sounds a bit absurd, doesn't it? But that's the reality. $2.88 for an iced coffee. $55 resort fee, even if you don't use any amenities. Show tickets, cocktails, bottled water. Everything seemed to be priced as if by an inside joke. This is no longer a story of high cost, but rather a story of eroding trust. A woman shared, "I've been a server at Wynn for over 10 years. Every summer this place is like a festival. Now, I'm standing the whole shift without a single table to serve." For people like her, Vegas is no longer paradise. It's a place where you wait for something to return that might never come back. The decline in tourism not only affects casinos, hotels, or a particular restaurant in Las Vegas. It affects thousands of small sellers, Uber drivers, street performers, and even local budgets. If Las Vegas, the heart of the American tourism industry, is becoming deserted, how long before other places also fall silent? When looking at these images, perhaps many viewers are exclaiming, "Is this Disneyland? I've never seen it like this before." Yes, you're not seeing things. Disney World, once known as the happiest place on earth, it's eerily empty right now, and the reason isn't hard to understand. Disney ticket prices have increased by over 40% in the last 5 years alone. A family of 4, spending an average of over $1,500 for a day of fun, not including hotel food and miscellaneous expenses. The fees make many people open their wallets in tears. But Florida isn't just about Disney, is it? Looking at Miami, the sea is still blue, the sand is still white, but there are no customers to be seen. Perhaps the long bills and numbers inadvertently drove customers away. Parking ticket is $45, coconut water $9, and a series of coastal resorts began adding a destination fee, a fee you weren't asked about but still had to pay. This is no longer a vacation, it's a toll booth in the summer sun. And now for the part you never thought you'd hear. Local residents in Naples, Sarasota, and even some areas around Tampa have begun urging visitors to stay home. Why is this ironic? Perhaps it's because they're tired. Tired of traffic jams, rising house prices, overcrowded beaches, and feeling like they've become a backdrop for luxury vacations they can't afford. A Palm Beach resident wrote on Reddit, Florida used to be home. Now, we feel like we're just doormen for tourists. So what about retirees who once dreamed of Florida? With real estate prices doubling since the pandemic, Florida's retirement communities are starting to shift. From Cape Coral, they moved back to Georgia, Alabama, or returned to the Midwest, where they felt less commercialized. Florida hasn't lost its beauty. It's just lost the simplicity that once made it so uniquely appealing. Do you have any childhood memories of Florida? Or have you ever thought about retiring in Naples, Key West, or Orlando? So if you went back there now, would you even recognize the place anymore? Please share in the comments section below. We were just talking about a state with warm sunshine, but cold hearts. And the next state, it's the home of music, soul, and culture, a place that once made America proud. And now, it's falling silent. Can you guess which state it is? Stay and listen to the story of Louisiana. Do you remember the feeling of soaking in cool water amidst the dry heat of Scottsdale? Or those early Sedona mornings when the dew still clings to the red rocks? Now, instead of a place for relaxation, Arizona is called a place to endure. In 2025, Arizona recorded the hottest summer in history, over 30 consecutive days exceeding 110 degrees Celsius, with a peak of 122 degrees Celsius in Phoenix. During the same period, resort occupancy rates in Sedona and Tucson decreased by 27%, the highest drop in the past 10 years. For many people, it's no longer a vacation. It's an extended version of the Sahara Desert, but with Wi-Fi and triple the water bill. Costs are rising, but the experience is declining sharply. Resort Spa. You used to be able to stay for 3 nights for under $500. No, a single night at the base price is over $400, not including extra fees, services, and special heatwave charges. It sounds like a joke, but when you pay to stay in a room all day to avoid the heat, you start to wonder, am I on vacation? Or am I trapped in a super greenhouse? Notably, Arizona, once a dream destination, is now witnessing an exodus of its retirement community. Arizona was once a retirement paradise. Dry climate, quiet, easy to live in. But now, with rising electricity costs, health insurance increasing due to heat risk, many people have started to move away to Colorado, Utah, or even back east. No one wants to spend their final years in a state where they have to avoid the sun like a storm. A man who used to live in Mesa shared, "I used to walk my dog every morning. Now I have to wait until 9 p.m. and it's still so hot that my car won't start because the battery is overheating." When a vacation becomes a battle with the weather, you know that land is changing. Arizona still has amazing landscapes, but you can't go outside and enjoy it. And so that beauty, though it doesn't disappear, becomes useless to the very people who once craved it. You can't vacation when your body is straining to survive. Did you ever think you'd visit the Grand Canyon one day? Have you ever imagined growing old with the peaceful desert? If you go there today, will you stay past Tuesday? Arizona is hot. Not because it's attractive, but because no one can stand it anymore. And the final state on the list, the one you'd think would never be empty. But the truth, again, astonished millions. Do you remember the feeling of soaking in cool water amidst the dry heat of Scottsdale? Or those early Sedona mornings when the dew still clings to the red rocks? Now, instead of a place for relaxation, Arizona is called a place to endure. In 2025, Arizona recorded the hottest summer in history, over 30 consecutive days exceeding 110 degrees Celsius, with a peak of 122 degrees Celsius in Phoenix. During the same period, resort occupancy rates in Sedona and Tucson decreased by 27%, the highest drop in the past 10 years. For many people, it's no longer a vacation. It's an extended version of the Sahara Desert, but with Wi-Fi and triple the water bill. Costs are rising, but the experience is declining sharply. Resort spa. You used to be able to stay for 3 nights for under $500. No, a single night at the base price is over $400, not including extra fees, services, and special heatwave charges. It sounds like a joke, but when you pay to stay in a room all day to avoid the heat, you start to wonder, am I on vacation? Or am I trapped in a super greenhouse? Notably, Arizona, once a dream destination, is now witnessing an exodus of its retirement community. Arizona was once a retirement paradise. Dry climate, quiet, easy to live in. But now, with rising electricity costs, health insurance increasing due to heat risk, many people have started to move away. To Colorado, Utah, or even back east. No one wants to spend their final years in a state where they have to avoid the sun like a storm. A man who used to live in Mesa shared, "I used to walk my dog every morning. Now I have to wait until 9 p.m. and it's still so hot that my car won't start because the battery is overheating." When a vacation becomes a battle with the weather, you know that land is changing. Arizona still has amazing landscapes, but you can't go outside and enjoy it. And so that beauty, though it doesn't disappear, becomes useless to the very people who once craved it. You can't vacation when your body is straining to survive. Did you ever think you'd visit the Grand Canyon one day? Have you ever imagined growing old with the peaceful desert? If you go there today, will you stay past Tuesday? Arizona is hot. Not because it's attractive, but because no one can stand it anymore. And the final state on the list, the one you'd think would never be empty. But the truth, again, astonished millions. For many, Hawaii is the most beautiful end to the American dream. But even paradise can be deserted at times. In 2025, Hawaii recorded the highest decline in domestic visitors in a decade, particularly from California, Texas, and Midwestern states. Ticket prices increased by over 35% compared to 2022. And worse, the reception of the indigenous community is changing. Tourists not only feel it's expensive, but for the first time, they feel unwelcome. Why does a paradise become indifferent? Behind the familiar aloha smile lies accumulated fatigue. The sea seems to be polluted by inconsiderate tourists. Land is being acquired for luxury resorts. Indigenous people are being pushed out of their homes because of rising real estate prices catering to outsiders. Even the people of Hawaii had to speak out. We don't hate tourism. We just hate the feeling of no longer being the masters of the place we were born. A tour guide in Maui shared, "Previously I told guests about the legend of Pele, about the sacred volcanoes. Now I tell them not to stand on the coral casually taking pictures without thinking. When travel becomes a cultural burden, you know something is out of sync." Not only that, the price of getting to Hawaii and the price of staying. A 5-day vacation in Oahu for 2 people can now exceed $4,000, not including spending. As for the people, the standard of living increased, but incomes did not keep pace. A local said, "We live in paradise, but we work as if we're in Manhattan." And so, those who stayed were weary, and those who came were hesitant. Both sides are far apart on the same strip of poetic land. Hawaii, once the lullaby of the Pacific, is now like a song no one dares to play loudly anymore. Still green, still beautiful, but somewhere, a heartbeat is missing. You can't feel welcome if the person offering it is gradually losing faith themselves. If one day you go to Hawaii and feel like an uninvited guest, will you choose to silently retreat or find a way to tread more lightly on the sand and more deeply? Are we, in the name of tourism, losing the most sacred things? 5 states, 5 shades, 5 different size. But with the same general question, is America losing something more valuable than tourism revenue? Please share your thoughts if you've ever been to one of these places. And if you haven't already, listen before you book your tickets. We've just taken you through 5 states, each place a story, a somber note in America's once vibrant symphony. But honestly, this list is probably not finished. Do you recognize these familiar signs? Are tourist towns now just left with "for lease" signs? Wharves deserted by tourists, but filled with the worries of local residents' resorts that were once bustling. Are they now just the sound of air conditioning and a few quiet lights in the night? Perhaps you are living in such a place. Maybe you just cancelled a trip, not because you didn't want to, but because you no longer saw a reason to go there. According to data from the U.S. Travel Association in 2025, domestic travel will decrease by 5.8% compared to 2023. A worrying decline for a country that once thrived on mobility. Many cities that were once bustling, such as Nashville, San Francisco, and Portland, are seeing a significant decrease in bookings, tour purchases, and festival attendance. We used to be proud of our lively summers and family vacations filled with laughter. But these days, it seems that what's more common are cancelled vacations and closed restaurants. The reason for the decline isn't just expensive. It also seems to be fatigue and a loss of faith. Rising cost airline tickets, hotels and services with hidden fees. Poor experience, crowded, commercialized, lacking true authenticity. Social tensions, some places are no longer as welcoming to tourists as they used to be. Behavior change, people prioritize safety, convenience, and clear value. Americans don't mind spending, they mind feeling like they're being taken advantage of. And what if this situation continues? Hundreds of thousands of service workers will lose their jobs. A series of towns dependent on tourism will turn off the lights due to a lack of operating budget. Indigenous cultures, which are closely tied to the tourism experience, will gradually be commercialized or disappear. And worst of all, is the invisible coldness between people when even a trip is no longer something to look forward to. If a country no longer wants to go, no longer likes to come, then sooner or later, even places that were once symbols will only remain on old postcards. There's a paradox happening. Americans are still traveling, but fewer and fewer people are choosing to stay in the US. According to data from Hopper and TripAdvisor, flight searches from the US to Mexico will increase by over 28% in 2025, particularly for destinations like Cancun, Tulum, and Mexico City. Why all-inclusive resorts are cheaper? No resort fees, destination fees, or hidden surcharges. And strangely enough, they felt more welcome in another country. It's ironic sometimes we have to leave the US to find the experience we once had in 1980s Vegas. Not only Mexico, but Vancouver, Quebec, Banff are attracting older Americans seeking peace, nature, and decent, less hectic tourist services. Price equivalent, and even cheaper in some places. But most importantly, they feel valued and respected. A punctual bus ride, a hotel staff member who doesn't try to sell you anything beyond a genuine smile. Sometimes that's all it takes. Another popular destination among Americans is Costa Rica, where travel is a way of life, not just buying experiences. Where people aren't sold a vacation, but get to live it. No giant supermarkets, no dazzling show. But there are unfenced beaches, rustic villages, and people who genuinely want to tell you about where they live. Some American tourists shared, "I don't feel like a guest, I feel invited," something they no longer feel in their homeland. So the question now is no longer, where are Americans going? But rather, why did they have to go so far? To find something that once existed right here in America. Perhaps what we've lost isn't the beach, isn't the scenery, but rather kindness, authenticity, and experiences built on values, not invoices. If one day you find that a cheap flight to a distant country brings more hope than a bus ride to the next city, perhaps it's time for us to sit down and ask ourselves, Have we strayed too far from the simple things that once made holidays memorable? Travel is not just about going. That's an emotion. It's a memory. It's something that connects us to a land, and sometimes to ourselves. The states you just saw might not be empty forever. But if we don't look back, if we don't listen, the first thing that will disappear won't be the tourists, but the meaning of the journey. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever been somewhere and felt like it was not the same as before? What do you think is the root cause? And if there's one thing that could be changed to make travel in America more enjoyable, what would it be? Please share in the comments. I read every line. If you resonate with these thoughts, if you want to continue conversations like this, from the perspective of life experiences and memories, hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell. Next time, we won't just talk about places, but also about the very things that are changing around us. All data and perspectives in this video are compiled from public sources and personal experience. The goal of the video is to spark discussion, reflection, and feeling, not to attack or belittle any individual organization or location. We always encourage our audience to verify information and contribute additional perspectives to make the dialogue more multifaceted. Thank you for your time. This video might not take you to a new place, but if it brings you back to an old memory, a question you once forgot, then today's journey has been meaningful enough. See you in the next video.